So this is the plough blade painted. It was really good paint. It dried in about an hour, just as well. Okay, and it's raining today, so I can't do anything. I was going to do some touch up, but yeah, it's too wet. I'll do the touch up when I do that piece there. Yeah, it came out alright. There's little patches underneath I missed, but it was kind of difficult to see. If it was me, if this was mine, I would have taken all this palaver off, centre pin, pistons, you know, the hydraulic rams, and did it in two separate pieces. Would have been a lot better, because this blade can tilt as well, so it's kind of sophisticated type of thing. I got a few sags in it because I didn't know how much thinners to put in the paint, but it's only bloody snowplough. All that paint will be off first week. But anyway, that was it. Now I think I'll go and show you in the shop, instead of standing out here in the rain, my sandblaster again, because a couple of people have asked about it. Right, so this is the machine. It's really simple. It's actually a propane tank, and propane tanks are made out of a very heavy steel, just in case they blow up. It was not like your barbecue propane, a bit bigger, next one up, and you can see there's a seam around here and there's a seam here. Well, I cut that seam off and inverted it and made a valve. I'll show you the valve in a minute. But how it works is you've got your compressed air coming in through here, through a dryer, that's most important, because you don't want to get any moisture in there, plug it up, through this T, and then that T goes round to the valve at the bottom. Like I say, I'll take the camera off and I'll show you. But first of all, your compressed air comes in here, into the top of the tank, so that when you fill it up with sand, you pull this little lever up, and the air pressure will keep this up. That's kind of good. So there's a constant pressure head on top of the sand, which makes it flow better. Let me take the camera off. I'm not sure if this is going to film very well, though you can see, but in here there's a tapered ring welded into here, and here is a rubber, I think it's a Defender rear suspension rubber that goes on your radius arms, and I ground it down till it was a nice cone. And what happens is, when air pressure comes up, it pulls this up and keeps it tight. And also, when I calculated the height of this T-handle, so that when it's touching the bottom, we know it's empty. So you can see there's still some sand in there. Works really well, because all you've got to do is to hold this up and turn the air on, and it looks after itself. Underneath here, wait a minute, very simple. They've got a nice large ball valve there. That's handy to have. And then it goes through a reducer. So it must be an 1.25 inch ball valve, and it gets reduced and reduced to a 3/4 onto this T here. And you can see here, this is where your compressed air comes in and blows along here and makes a mix. So your sand's dropping down into here and then getting blown here. It does wear out the fittings every now and again, so that's not too bad. And the other day, to stop this sinking, because this has got a bit bent, it's actually only a sack barrow, it's not special. I put a little bit of angle there just to tip it a little bit. Now, as for the nozzle, just a run-of-the-mill ceramic nozzle, really common. It's better than them little tip things you can get. And you can see how it works. This is just a piece of tube. This is the stuff I bought, the hose. It's really thick. I don't know if you can pick up. It's a thick walled tube. You can't use like hose pipe. This is proper sandblasting tube. So I cut down a piece of tube, put some countersink screws in, and eventually over time the countersink screws will wear out, but it holds this piece on. I'm trying to get a nozzle out. Oh, I've got a rubber ring in it, sealing ring. So we got this pipe fitting, put it in the lathe and turned it down to this taper, and then just a rubber ring in there to seal on here, and that's it. and there's no dead man's handle on it. You know, the ones that's supposed to flap around over the top. I had a lot of problems. I had 2 or 3 of them, and the sand eventually wears through the handle. There's supposed to be like a rubber thing that comes along here and drops down, but they don't last 5 minutes. So if ever I want to stop, I just nip the hose and that's it, and it shuts the machine off. You have to be sort of stealthy and keep it away from your eyes and things like that, but otherwise it works very, very well. And I mean, the most expensive part was this hose. Actually, this is the second one I made. The first one I lent out and I never got the bugger back, so I never lend anything out anymore. But very simple operation, just turn the air, pull the handle up, turn the air on, and you're away. Now the ball valve at the bottom controls the flow, this thing here. And to get a perfect blast on this setup, oh, I've got my collar all over, that's scruffy. I see I've got my haircut for my birthday, still have to pay for it. Anyway, what was it? Oh yeah, the ideal blasting for this, you hear it chuffing like a train. It's a nice steady jet, but you can hear it go, and you're not wasting sand. That's the most important thing, because if you have that valve wide open, you'll empty this machine in about 10 minutes. It really doesn't have to go. So usually with a full tank of sand, I get about an hour out of it. To do the sandblasting on that snowplough blade, well, that was a wee bit tricky. I think it took about 5 bags per, coverage, because first of all we took off the paint and whatever, yeah, and then we went rusty, so then we had to take the rust off. Well, if we'd have known better, we wouldn't have had to do it twice. But the bags of sand, sort of this stuff, it's actually recycled glass, it's not actual sand, and the grade on that is 3060, I think it is. They put a marker right across where it says, but I'm sure it's 3060. And I calculated that 1 bag like that fills my machine up, so it's kind of good, but I hate sandblasting. I much prefer things that's in the cabinet, or as I wrote in one of the comments, if it fits on top of an oil drum, like say for example an axle casing or suspension parts, radius arms, yeah, I'll do them with this machine because they're too long to go in my sandblasting cabinet, but they're only like 10-minute jobs, go, and then they're all clean and ready to go and prime and paint. But paint, I'll show you what gun I use for painting. This is the gun. Nout Special Canadian Tire, came as a kit with a big one and a small one. It's what's called a high volume low pressure gun. What that means is you don't use a great deal of air, but a lot of volume will come out the way it's designed. It's really clever. I used to use a suction gun, the ones with a pot underneath. Well, they use a lot of air because you have to make a suction. So you've got to suck up the paint to get through the jet. Whereas this is gravity fed, so you're missing that section out. So you can concentrate getting paint coming through here. Now, one thing I like about this gun, even though it's a cheap and cheerful, so it's got a thumb wheel on the side here. It's really good. This one controls your needle, how far it's going to open. But this one controls the fan. And what that means is, I'll put that down a minute. So you can control the fan. So by screwing it one way, I can't remember which way it is now. By screwing it one way, you'll get a wide fan, but less distance. Great for doing roofs and things like that, or big panels. But on the snowplough, there was lots of cavities, like reinforcement ribs. So you shut the fan down till it's almost a very narrow fan. And so instead of being like this, it's like this. And you can shoot paint underneath. And it got it quite right. So, it made a nice job. But the problem with that is you have to be kind of quick because it's coming out as in a narrow fan. You can get runs and curtains and stuff like that. So you just have to put it back onto a fan when you're doing the next bit. So it's really good to have that little button right near your thumb. Works out well. But again, it's not something I do now. I used to do cars and stuff like that, but since I moved here 20 years ago, I can't paint in here. I've got too much stuff, and I've got too many things that gets all sticky with paint, and because I live upstairs, the paint fumes are absolutely diabolical. So, you know, I can't do it anymore. I did one or two when I first moved in. I said, that's it. So we quit doing bodywork. When Mike was here, we just quit doing it because it was too bad. In fact, I think one day it was so bad. I think I went to a motel over the room. I couldn't sleep. It was just unbelievably fumy. So, you know, you need a good respirator mask on with the carbon filters on when you're doing this type of stuff. It's nasty stuff. And that's why I sprayed that outside as well. So you're getting some sort of fresh air. But like I said, the high volume, low pressure gun means the paint's going onto the job, not all over the air. Like with a suction gun, you'll put half of it in the damned air. Whereas this one, nearly all the paint goes onto the item you're wanting to do. So that's really, really good. And like I say, it comes with a small one as well for little touch-ups. That's why I'm not bothered about that plough. Once I get the block done, because I can bring the block in here and get it warmed up, take it outside, give it a quick blast and prime, bring it back in again. I know it's a mess about. But when it comes to colouring it up again, I'll just fill up the little gun and go around the plough, and I can see the bits I've missed. Because like I said, the problem, there is one downside with this. That's why I mentioned I'd like to take off the mechanism for steering it, because this kept hitting everything. And you can't turn this upside down or sideways because you'll lose paint out the top. Not very good, but it did the job. So.